Okay.
And then, as part of the investigation, law enforcement determined that his cellular device was used with the towers.
So now, let's break it down. Now they investigate and they get his cell phone data, right? So now they could tell November 13th, 2022, between 3 and 5, his cell phone was off. Between 3 and 5, his cell phone was off. He left his his university at 2:44.
Yeah.
So from 3 to 5, his phone was off.
So he turned it off halfway through his trip.
He turned it off once he got, I think, once he crossed over, he knew where he was going.
Right. Once he got off campus, got on his main road that he needed to travel, that's when he decided to turn his phone off. But
don't that say something too? He felt comfortable. He knew the area comfortable enough to where he didn't need a phone.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Because he went there 12 times prior. He probably took different roads to get there also, because he took that entire back way with no cell phone turned on, no nothing. So he was comfortable in the paths he was taking.
So on December 23rd, they applied for a search warrant of the phone records between November 12th and November 14th for... Oh, this is interesting.
Yeah, so they got granted the phone records for the timing between November 12th and November 14th. They pursued the search warrant for the records from AT&T. These showed that his phone was subscribed to his name, his address in PA.
It's basically showing ownership that it's his phone.
Right, and he's had that phone account open since June. Okay. So he had a different phone plan before that with somebody else. And he just opened that AT&T one in June 23rd. That's exactly a month prior to when he got stopped in Pullman for the first time, or in Moscow for the first time ever.
So 2 months after.
A month.
No, that.
Oh, July, August. Okay. 2 months.
2 months. Wow.
That's when he decided.
Yeah. So that's when they.
After.
So this is just going over his cell phone data usage and what time they think he was on his cell phone.
Right. So
what
now.
What time he could have turned it off.
Right, so now, they just talk about their qualifications to get it, certifications, and how it applies to the law. Then on the 13th at 2:42 a.m., his phone was utilizing cellular resources, provided coverage to blank hereby after 2:47.
They clock him leaving his apartment or his WSU campus at 2:44.
Right.
So 2 minutes before... 2 minutes after...
The camera catches him driving.
2 minutes after his cell phone shows that his location, the camera catches his location.
Yeah.
Then he turns it off.
And then at 2:47, it shows that his phone utilized sources to provide coverage that he was consistent with the phone leaving his residence, traveling through Pullman at 2:47. So it showed his location on his phone leaving Pullman.
Yeah.
And that would be consistent with the movement of the cameras they saw with his moving white Elantra. White Elantra. Yeah. And then at 2:47 is when the phone stops reporting the network.
That's when he turned it off.
Right.
Wow.
And then it's approximately not reported to be seen again on the network until 4:48 a.m., which makes sense because he left the scene at 4:20.
So he's comfortable enough with the back road that he don't need his phone.
Right. So he waited until he pretty much got over to the Washington side of taking that back road, 30 minutes before he turned his phone on. Because I think from that back road, once you turn on to Johnson, that's like another 10, 15-minute ride. But that entire back road of just trees and woods to cross over the border, he had his phone off. Between 4:50 and 5:20 a.m., the phone showed that he was traveling south on ID State Highway 95 to Genesee, Idaho. then traveling west towards Uniontown, Idaho.
Going down, coming back up. That's where it is.
Yeah.
Coming back up.
Then north back into Pullman. Right. At approximately 5:30, the phone shows that he came back to the residence.
Mm-hmm. So he was back home at 5:30.
Yep. Yeah, because they said he was traveling north at the stadium, and we know that he only lived 3/4 of a mile from the stadium. And then it shows that in the morning, like once he got back from the killing, November 13th at 9:00 a.m., he traveled back to Moscow. Further review indicated that his phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th that are consistent with the phone leaving the area of his residence at approximately 9 a.m. and traveling to Moscow, Idaho. The phone utilized cellular resources which would provide coverage to King Road between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. That means he went back over to Moscow and his phone showed that he was in the King Road residence for 10 minutes between 9:12 to 9:21 a.m. The phone...
He was in the area. He was in that area around that time.
It said would provide coverage to King Road, the residence. It did not say the area. It said the King Road residence. That is the house. He went there for 10 minutes. A few hours after. So he came back, got back at 5:30.
Oh, shit.
Then left. That's what my cousin was telling me this morning. She said, did you read it? He went back there for 10 minutes that morning. And then it showed him traveling back to his residence and arriving to be at the area.
So I don't know how. First of all, he went back before the girl called the cops.
Right. Right. So maybe he went back to put the weapon back. Or maybe he went back to see if anything was happening.
Yeah, he probably went back to see if the cops came. No cop came. If anybody was going to get up.
Right, if there was anything going on the street or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he went back that next... That's why my cousin texted me this morning. That's why I decided I wanted to read this. Because he went back... He got back to campus at 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. He spent 3 hours at home and then went back out.
So this is the possible route based on his cell phone records.
Right. And that's his campus. That's the girls' campus. That would be the highway. Mm-hmm. That would be the quickest way, but that's the way he...
This is what they saying, though. He turned off his phone. Go in there. Right. And don't turn it back on. Wait, no. That's not correct. Because it's a period in time where his phone was on, then he turned it off.
Right.
Then to get there. Then his phone stays off. And then it comes back on around 4 something.
Right. Now they're talking about how his phone connected to a tower November 14th in Moscow. And his phone has not been connected to any tower since that date.
Threw the phone out.
And then they just state how they believe him turning off his phone was to conceal his location when he did the quadruple homicide between 2:47 a.m. and 4:48 a.m. That's crazy. I didn't know he went back. I did not know he went back the next morning. He only spent around 10 minutes there when he went back. So he drove all the way there to spend 10 minutes doing what? After he already knows what he did 3 hours prior to that.
Okay, so this is just a search warrant to go back and look at his records from June 23rd to now. Okay.
On December 23rd, they Yeah, like you said. And then they wanted to determine if he stalked any of the victims. In a prior case, conducted surveillance on the King Road residence, was in contact with any victims before any locations that... Right. So they're saying since June 2022, they've seen his phone ping to the towers of 1122 King Road at least 12 occasions prior to the November 13th killing. And all of them except one occurred in the late evening and early morning hours of their respective days. So around the time he committed the murders.
On one of these occasions, August 21st.
Right. The phone utilized that he was at the King Road residence from 10:34, so a whole hour in the what is that, nighttime?
And yeah, a whole hour at night. Getting some ass. Like
at approximately 11:37 was stopped. So 2 minutes after he left the residence, he was stopped. So in the neighborhood. He was stopped at Farm Road and Pullman Highway.
Yeah, you want to pull that up?
Yeah. Right? Was that what he said?
Yeah, Farm Road and Pullman Island. So now let's go back over to this side. So this is when he's only 2 minutes back. So takes 2 minutes that he gets stopped.
That's what I'm saying. That is very weird. Especially in 2 minutes, I feel as though he probably just was making it out of that neighborhood. Because that neighborhood to get out was kind of like, a little maze a little bit. So he probably just got onto one of the main roads and he just gets pulled over. That doesn't make sense.
Further analysis of cellular data provides shows that utilized cellular resources on November 13th, consistent with the phone traveling from Pullman, Washington to Lewistown, Idaho via U.S. Highway I-95 at approximately 12:36 p.m.
He went to get a cup of coffee? Because the November 13th is the night it happened, right?
Yeah. Wait.
So
shit.
So before he even left to go there at
no. Because it happened in the morning of November 13th, and if they put PM, that's 12 o'clock. The morning,
the next day.
No, so 12 o'clock is around right now. PM.
Right.
AM is at the night. Is like.
Okay, so when was this? Before or after?
This was after. So approximately around 12:36.
So lunchtime the next day.
Yes, that's what I'm.
Lunchtime the next day.
So at lunchtime he was seen traveling into Idaho via I-95 at approximately 12:36, and going to a coffee shop. Wow, this guy was either he thought he got away with it.
Let me look at the address to that coffee shop. I want to see where it's around. What's the address?
810 Port Drive, Clarkston.
Got it.
Yeah, he was just right next to it.
Oh, he went all the way down there?
That's what they saying. They said he went to a coffee shop.
Yeah.
After he did the killing.
Right, because you got to think about it. That morning, too, we just read that he went there in the morning between 9 and 9:30. What was the time? 9:12?
Yeah, 9:12 and 9:21.
Right, so then he got back to Pullman. And then after that, he decided to then go all the way down here to get coffee. Which the most he traveled this far down was in this area when he was coming home that night. Then he went all the way down here? That's kind of... How far of a drive you think that is? To a coffee shop in this area.
Mm-hmm.
What's in that area?
Okay, so it's saying that he was in Moscow, so he was over here, and he traveled all... Remember Janice? That's right there.
Yeah.
So he traveled all the way down there to get there. So after he visited the house the morning of, after he went all the way down there
to a coffee shop
to see if they was reporting on it or what. I don't know. This man is crazy. This man is crazy.
Maybe to see if there was any activity going on in this area. For example, if he took, this area, this blue road, that blue road pretty much, maybe he thought if he traveled here, he would see if there was any cops or any activity going on.
Mm-hmm. This guy.
I don't know, but why would you go to a coffee shop all the way down here? How far of a drive is... It's a 40-minute drive to go get some coffee.
Which makes sense. He left that place around like 9:30. He don't get to the coffee shop until what's the name?
12:30.
Takes him an hour. Some hour or two.
But why would you go to a coffee shop all the way in a complete different county, pretty much?
It probably says right here. Okay, so they got surveillance footage to prove that he was there. Approximately 12:06.
Then he went to a grocery store.
You know what's funny? Remember when I asked him, why did you travel all the way to Idaho or whatever to do? He said,
better shopping. Well, he lied because apparently he likes Clarkston better.
No, but Clarkston is Idaho.
Right.
It's on the other side.
But it's not Moscow.
Yeah. But they said why you went to Idaho. Wait, they said why you went to Moscow?
I don't know.
Yeah, but... Surveillance
footage then shows him at this grocery store.
This guy is so... Like, he was all over the place.
He walked through the store, purchased unknown items at checkout, and left the grocery store at 1:04 p.m.
Wow. That's all we can say, baby. Wow.
Keep it on. Additional footage shows approximately between 5:32 p.m. and 5:36 p.m. provided coverage that he was in Johnson, Idaho. That at 5:36 p.m. and then his phone stopped working again from 5:30 to 8:30. That is consistent with that the phone being in the area traveled in the hours immediately following the suspected time the homicides occurred.
So he traveled the road again, the same road.
Right. But why was there no...
Why did he travel the same road again?
What road? To go back to Idaho? Like to go from Clarkston to...
Oh yeah, it's probably the road he used to. This is all after the killing, right?
I think. I mean, I kind of am confused.
Further analysis there shows that on November 12th.
November 13th.
Yeah, November 13th. From Pullman, Washington to... I don't know. Oh, so he was traveling from Washington to Idaho.
Yeah, so what he did was that morning he went back to Moscow, then went back home, then from home he went down to Clarkston town.
Wow.
And then got his cup of coffee, did a grocery shopping of unknown items, and then they're saying his phone got shut off again.
Yeah.
For what? It was more than 2 hours.
For 3 hours, 5 to 8.
Right, so what was he doing between that 1 to 5 after he grocery shopped? They didn't state that.
And then from 5 to 8. So
it was seeing him going toward Johnson, Idaho. Let me look up where Johnson, Idaho is. Right?
Yeah.
Provided coverage. Yeah, at 5 o'clock. What the hell is Johnson, Idaho?
It's the same area. It's the same area that he took to get back. Yes, they saying it's consistent with the same path that he took to get back. He took Johnston Road.
Oh, okay.
He took Johnston Road, which is the same path that he took to get back, and that's just showing. They saying he basically took the same road that day. After he committed the killings, did all his shopping, to get back, he took the same exact back road. So that's why he was
Right.
so used to it. On December 27th. Okay, so this one they would arrest him, and that's it. Oh, that's the affidavit.
Bro, he went back the next morning
Yes.
and no one heard him? I wonder if he went in the house or what.
He probably. I mean.
You think he went back
killers,
just to look?
No, killers go back to the scene of the crimes to just get like. Yeah, he went back to look. He basically went back to look and get a thrill, a rush back from it, and see what he did.
Huh?